Welcome back to A View to a Grill. I'm Johnny, and today we're going to do some cheesy garlic bread on the Weber kettle. I'm going to be using some frozen dough, and first you're going to want to read the instructions. I'm going to be using the overnight refrigeration method for this cook. The next morning I took out my dough and set it on the counter. Now while that's sitting on the counter, it's a good time to do some grill maintenance and grill setup. For the fuel, I'll be using the Golden's cast iron brand of lump charcoal. I'm also going to be using the slow and sear for this cook. And as you can see, I have some leftover lump charcoal in there that I need to clean up first. All I'm going to do is kind of move this around just to knock off the old ash. And once that's done, I'll clean my grates. I like to use the Citrus Safe grill cleaner, and we'll just get that sprayed on, let it sit for a minute, and then scrub it off a little bit, and then finally wipe that off with a towel. Citrus Safe works pretty good. Check out the mess on the towel. Nobody wants to eat that. Now, judging by how much charcoal I have left in the slow and sear, I'm thinking I need about a half of a chimney starter for the first start of this cook. I'll go ahead and get the chimney starter started, and then go inside and start preparing our dough and garlic. Now, I used a 4-quart bowl to start this dough in. And take a look inside. It has filled up almost every part of this bowl. I'll just go ahead and knock this dough down. Now I'll get some flour on a board just so that the dough won't stick, and then form a uniform dough ball right on the board. Next, I'll use my bench scraper. Try to find the center of that dough ball and then cut the dough ball right in half to form 2 equal portions of dough. And once that's done, I'll reshape the 2 dough balls into 2 uniform dough balls. Now, I'm no baker, but I think those look pretty good. To bake this bread, I'll be using 2 cast iron casserole pans. I'll go ahead and get some olive oil in both of those, and then just kind of rub the olive oil around. This is going to add some flavor and help prevent the dough from sticking to the pan. For the garlic, I'll be using my cast iron garlic roaster. Inside of the bottom portion of that garlic roaster, I have about 6 to 8 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 heads of garlic that I just cut the tops off of, and some salt and pepper. And at this point, I'm thinking the fire should be ready. Now I'll get the lit lump and just pour it right into the slow and sear, right over those unlit coals that were already there. I'll get my garlic roaster and put that directly over the heat. And I'm only going to leave it there for about 2 or 3 minutes. All I'm doing is getting the oil that's in the garlic roaster hot. After 2 or 3 minutes, I'll get that moved over to the indirect side of the Weber kettle. For the first part of this cook, I'll have the top vent wide open, and then the bottom vent, I'll close that about halfway. And then in about 25 minutes, we'll check on the garlic, and you should have something that looks like this. Now, the main part of the garlic is not too dark right now because it's going to continue to roast while it's on top of the bread later. Now we'll just take the garlic off of the Weber kettle so it can start to cool down. I'm going to add some more lump charcoal to the slow and sear because now I want to get the slow and sear extremely hot. I'll move the coals around a little bit for even heat distribution and also to stoke the fire a little. Now I'll just get the lid closed, and the top vent is going to stay wide open, and the bottom vent, I'm going to clear it of any ash and then leave it set on the highest setting. Now while the kettle is getting hot, it's time to garlic and cheese the dough. I'll just use my fingertips to kind of push in and spread the dough out. Now if it doesn't completely cover the bottom of the cast iron pan, that's okay. The bread is going to expand and fill in all of those void spaces, but you do want to get it as close as possible. Now I'll get the garlic and just squeeze it out and then evenly spread it across the top of the dough. We'll get that garlic infused olive oil and then just use about 2 or 3 tablespoons and pour it over the dough. I'm also going to be using some Italian seasoning to season the bread. I'll just pinch some out of the bowl and just kind of sprinkle it on top of the bread dough. For the cheese, I have some grated mozzarella and some grated Parmesan. I'll just get a handful of mozzarella, cover the top of the dough, and then I'll get about half as much Parmesan right on top of that. And then finally, I'll get some more Italian seasoning and sprinkle that all over the top. And now the grill should be ready for baking. Do a quick check on the temperature, and it's above 500 degrees. Now granted, this is over the fire, but that hot air is going to be cascading right over our bread dough. Now I'll get both cast iron pans of dough right onto the indirect side of the grill. And then we'll just close the lid. The top vent is wide open, but we want to check the bottom vent, make sure that it's free of any debris and that our ventilation is still good. Now while that's baking, we can prepare our parsley garnish. I'll tear off the big leaves of parsley. I'll then very thinly slice the parsley. And then when you're done, you should have something at about this consistency. Now it's time for our 20-minute check. Let's get the lid off, and there's that garlic bread. At this point, I really like what I see. I think it looks pretty good. I'll just get both pans rotated and then close the lid. And then at about 15 minutes later, we'll check it again. And check out this reveal. Looking at good bread kind of gets me excited. Now we'll remove both pans of garlic bread and just get them onto some cutting boards. Now all we have to do is remove and serve. Now in my opinion, garlic bread is best served hot, so we're not going to wait for these to cool down. I'll use a butter knife to kind of free the edges first, and it should now just release from the cast iron baking pan. All right, now let's get in there and get a closer look. Check out that crust. I think this is looking pretty amazing right now. Now, I started cutting this bread up because I could not wait to taste it, but I forgot all about the parsley garnish. So I got the other pan, threw on some parsley, and here's the final dish. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Now let's give it a taste. I put some of the garnish on one of those pieces that I already cut. Here's a close-up shot of it. Just listen to that crust. Now we'll get a bite and listen to the crunch. And now here's one of those pieces of garlic. You see how much darker it got? And that's because it's still roasting while it was in the Weber kettle. So we don't want to burn the garlic. That's why I take it out when it's just over halfway done. And then this garlic bread gets 2 thumbs up. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.